What's up, everybody? Welcome to Best Family Homestead. So today I'll be a little bit different. Well, you guys know my channels. I'll say a little different. It's very eclectic. You know, it's a homestead, so whatever needs to be done. So finally got my old black F-150 running a little bit, and lo and behold, I should have bought a new starter a little while ago for it. I didn't, so I was helping Robert at the old bird farm, came over here to get some shovels and some tools, and sure enough, I stopped it and it wouldn't start. And I knew the starter was kind of giving me some issues. So for anybody that might be interested in knowing how a starter works, you notice there's the starter here, and there's this little gear right here. What happens is this gear comes out and spins the flywheel and turns the motor over to make it start. Well, you guys can watch this on this one, and I'm using jumper cables. This is how I checked to see if it was bad. All right, so you see that piece comes out right there, but there's no spinning. That's why my truck won't start. So I'm down to one vehicle. Robert's finishing some stuff we started up at the old bird farm. So since I'm stuck over here at my house, I cleaned up everything. We got the wagon here we're not going to talk about right now, and I got Robert's F-250. We've got our road trip coming up, and the radiator, he's already got the radiator. They've been letting me drive this. I thought my truck was good enough to drive. Apparently not. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and change these radiators. There's a really bad oil leak. We're going to find that. Get this thing running again, just because it needs to be done. And since I'm stuck here at the house, we're going to take care of that. So we'll show you guys how to pull the radiator out of a 1978 or a 1979. All right, so I'll show you what we're going to do. First, we got to pull the fan shroud off, and then take all the transmission lines off. We're going to drain the coolant, which has got good coolant in it, and get all that stuff taken care of. So I'm just going to put it on time lapse while we do that, and if there's anything relevant that comes up, I will stop it and show you guys what we're doing. And because I know there's good coolant in here, we're going to save it. And even more importantly, since I have lots of animals, antifreeze is very, very, very poisonous, and I do not want any of this getting on the ground for my animals to drink. Alright, so while the antifreeze drains, we're going to go ahead and start getting this fan shroud off. There's just a few bolts. We got to set this back so we can get to all the bolts on the radiator itself. Antifreeze to drip. I always recommend using a instead of a screwdriver, if you can, on hose clamps, use a nut driver. You're going to be able to get them a lot more secure and tight, and when you're taking them off, you're going to have a whole lot less chance of stripping them out. Alright, so I got my screwdriver here. Now this is one of those fun things with old radiators. You're not just going to be able to pull it off. You know, it's corroded a little bit, created some suction. So you're going to take a good sized screwdriver. There we go. Once you get it started. So if you're trying to chase an old hose, it won't come off. Don't try and pull it off. It's not going to happen. All you got to do is just kind of get back in behind there and pull that out. Welcome to one of the other joys of working with old cars. So you can see someone already just been there selling it rusted, but someone else used like a metric bolt or nut on the standard bolt. So I had to get a metric socket, and that thing was rusted so tight up in here that just broke up. All right, old radiator out. Let's pull this new radiator out of the box here. Now you can see it's not a absolute direct replacement. This one's an aftermarket kind of multi-use radiator, general purpose. I can say generic. But on this, you can see this old girl. She's been leaking for a minute. Slow leak, you know, finally slow leak turned into a fast leak. So time to retire this old copper core and put this fancy aluminum radiator in. Now what's going to be interesting is we got to get these transmission cooler fittings out here and here. They go to the transmission cooler. These are going to be interesting to get out because I'm sure they're tight as can be, and we're keeping our fingers crossed that it's the same threads as on this other. Oh goodness, please, please, please. Hey, look at that. They work. All right. So I'm gonna get my wire brush. We're gonna clean those up a little bit. We're gonna put some Teflon thread tape on them. We still have to take our drain petcock out here and put it in, and then we'll be ready to start putting this thing back in. All right, so this drain petcock you can't really screw out to get it all the way out, and it's reverse thread. You know, that's how it closes and opens. So this one you're going to have to be real careful. Oh good, this one's not going to be too much of a booger. All right, now for the fun, not fun part of using a universal radiator like this one, instead of like a direct replacement. So just be warned, the holes may or may not line up exactly. right, so I'm not gonna lie, the holes actually lined up pretty decent. Good deal. Okay, a little bit of a tip if you're trying to reuse your old hose clamps and they're a little bit rusted. A little bit of WD-40 or some kind of penetrating oil really goes a long way to help, you know, loosen them up so that they can tighten up again. So we're going to get under here now and we're going to start hooking back up our transmission lines. We're gonna use all this old antifreeze we can, because this stuff is not cheap. Now it's been setting for a minute. So we'll go ahead and check the engine oil here. And it is full. So now the last thing to do, we want to start this girl up. Well, we're going to move our tools out of the way. All right. We want to start this girl up and we're going to see if she leaks. Moment of truth. Cranked right up. So now we're going to see. Don't see any liquid yet. All right, so this radiator, the problem was the hoses, because where the radiator hooked into the hose wasn't quite as long. I didn't really notice it. I looked around, didn't see any problems, but now that radiator hose is a little bit too short, so I'm going to have to go downtown and get a universal radiator hose to fit that line, so or to fit this radiator. But that is one of the issues with using universal stuff. Sometimes it doesn't work. I should have kept a better eye on it, but it'll be about a couple $1 fix, and then it's going to be good to go. All right, so no coolant leaks. Had to fix a couple little ones, tied some stuff up last night. Temperature's running good. Now I can get all this stuff, which is why I came back yesterday before the starter went on my truck, and head over to the bird farm and get some work done. Fingers crossed. Well, we made it to the farm with the radiator and not overheating. But what's that old saying? What's that 4-2 says back? So the you can see all the power steering fluid down there.
Oh yeah.
I pulled in the Coopers and it was like I made the heart, like turned it pretty hard, and
Yeah.
it started blowing everywhere. So on the next episode of Aaron tries to keep old junk running.
On the next episode of Fix This F-250.
Well, yeah, we'll be
I think
checking all these power steering
that
hoses.
hose behind on the bottom down there.
Yeah,
It goes down to that weird rail.
yeah, it's probably eating out.
Floating rail.
It's probably eating out in there a little bit.
Yeah.
like friction, and it looks like, I bet it's the metal line. I bet that metal line where the mount is, the vibration has rubbed and probably eaten a little hole in the metal line, if I just had to guess.
Yeah. No. Oh wow. That's I've never really paid that close attention to where the steering box was on here. I'm used to them down here, like on the way.
Yeah, right. No, these are the high steers.
Yeah. Huh. Pretty cool. Well, the radiator looks good.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of these eBay aluminum radiators.
Yeah, bolted up pretty easy. But I'd had to put that flex hose on down there, and it still doesn't slide as much onto the flanges that I like, because this radiator sits back further.
Gotcha.
It has shorter nipples on it for the hoses to go over.
Right.
But I got that, and so we got a little bit of clearance there between the belt and
Yeah,
the
for sure.
hose. No leaks, and I'll let it run for, I'd run for about 30-45 minutes, and it stayed below like 185, which usually you set in an island that long, it wouldn't do that.
Yep. Cool.
All right, well, now we can get back and pick up where we left off yesterday.
Yep.
Before the other old junk broke.
Yeah.
And so never ending battle.
Right.